welcome back again to another session of Five for Five. We here at the Metal Lab Studio podcast.
Woo-hoo.
Today I got Jacayla,
Hello.
and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Jacayla. I am a filmmaker, a student at UDC. I do special effects, acting, directing, anything film related, you name it. That's what I do. So,
Nah, facts.
yes.
I'm glad that you took the time to come check us out here at
Yes.
Metalworks in the Metal Labs, and might as well get straight into it, right?
Yes.
All right.
Excited.
So we here for five. So my first question for you:
Yes.
how does your mental health impact your creative process?
Hmm. It depends on the day. So, if if I am not having the best, I guess, mental health day, I try to transmute that into what I'm actually feeling instead of trying to condense it and trying to make it perfect.
Mhm.
So if let me see. So every time I wake up, I try to journal. So no matter what that feeling is, I just try to write it out, and that helps me to basically like condense everything into writing and also make me not overthink or be in my head so much.
Facts. So you mentioned journaling.
hmm
What made you start journaling?
So I started journaling, I would say last year, and when I started going to therapy, because she noticed that I just have so much thoughts just coming out, and she knows that I think a lot and I think about things constantly all the time. Sometimes it would make me kind of stand still.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, yeah, just try journaling, and I've also watched YouTube and certain people said that like journaling helped them. So I was like, why not give it a try?
You
And
believe it's a good coping skill?
yes,
Facts.
it's my journal is my best friend. So it's definitely helped me to. It actually helps me to not expect anybody's opinion. So you know how people vent to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I like venting to my journal because of the fact that it helps me to get my thoughts out without somebody cutting me off or like somebody giving their opinion of what I feel and what I deserve to feel. So yeah, that's just my outlet
Oh,
for
that's
sure.
facts. That's good. I know we utilize that for people treatment plans and goals. Utilize journal to express themselves and get their
Mhm.
emotions out. So
Yes.
nah, that's good. So this being five for five, I already kicked it off.
Okay.
So what questions you got for me?
Okay. Let me get my notes up.
Nah, go ahead, go ahead.
So I have while you were incarcerated, what moment challenged your mental health?
Ooh, when I was incarcerated, what moment challenged my mental health?
Mhm.
I'm gonna say my day of my sentence because now I knew for a fact that this is a real situation that I am, and it's no turning back, and I gotta do this time. So I had to, in that moment, get ready for the reality of that I'm about to spend years in prison. So the challenge was like coming back from my court sentence to face me being in this cell for the next, at that given time, next 4 years straight. So I was just trying to prepare myself. I would talk to individuals who did time before
Mhm.
and get ready or prepared what my expectations would be when I get sent up the road. And when I say sent up the road, that means to my prison stop because that was jail. So it was shocking. I can say you definitely not prepared because until you get your sentence and your time. Because right before that, it's all play because you have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and
Mm.
you juggling that. It's like well, I still got to possibly get home, but when they give you that time, then it's like, oh shit, I'm really in here. So I
Wow.
had to get prepared mentally. But yeah, nah, that's an intriguing question, and I'm glad that you asked it.
Thank
So
you.
what I
Thank
got
you.
next for you is, hold on. Now, how do you navigate the highs and lows of the filmmaking process while managing your mental health?
I basically, whenever I'm done with a project, I just check out. Like, I don't even look at the actual project until like for a long period of time because I don't want it to be my whole identity.
Hmm.
Even though that's something I am passionate about and that's something that I put blood, sweat, and tears. However, there's more to me, and I'm not just a monolith. So I go into the different hobbies like painting, dancing. Dancing is definitely like a healing thing for me. I've been dancing since I was 3.
Okay.
So, singing out loud, being with friends, like going out with nature and doing other things other than film because I know people consume that their whole entire life and the thing is you're going to keep chasing for validation.
Mm.
And it's funny because when I went to LA recently and I talked to different actors and actresses, they kept saying, "Dang, like I haven't got anything, or I haven't got a call from them yet, or I've been auditioning, but nobody ain't answering." I'm like, I first of all, I make my own opportunities. I think I have this thing where I just don't wait for people. Even my mom said since I was a kid, it's like you don't wait for nobody. And I'm like, you're right, I don't because I'll make my own opportunities. If I want to make a film one day, I will just do that, and I would call up whoever I know to help me set up the camera, do the sound, and I'll be the main character.
So how would that like? All right, I hear you take initiative and you want to make your own film, but don't you think that play a factor on your mental well being if you don't have that and you looking for the opportunity in the film industry?
So, like for other people, validation.
Yeah, well, not just that, but say like you said that people are waiting to get callbacks and opportunities.
Hmm.
You say you'll just take that opportunity, right?
Or make my own opportunity.
Or make your own. So, what if you don't have like neither one, and then you start riding that low? Like, how would you navigate that your mental health, or what suggestions can you give people?
Focus on what you do have. So I have a journal. You can write whatever story you got in your mind that day. Um, when it comes to not getting the amount of attention that you feel like you deserve, I literally just like I said, either I write something surrounding the film, so
Hmm.
with like a script, like anybody can write a script, and if that's not the case, then like I said, I just log out from that sector of my life.
And you saying log out? You said that term earlier. What do that mean?
So anything involved with film, don't I guess entertain it because of the fact that you're gonna naturally for me you're gonna end up comparing yourself to other people like dang like I feel like I would have been good on this role and then you'll spiral into feeling like you're not worth it.
Mm.
So I basically you have to check yourself every day. You have to validate your own self every day, even though you may not believe it, but you got to feed into that delusion because some people have a negative connotation when it comes to being delusional. And that's the only reason that they have that is because they're delusion about other people or they delusion about things that's externally.
So you think people be always living behind a facade?
Yes.
Facts.
And if you have to be delusional about yourself, but that's kind of easier said than done because you know yourself and you know all the flaws before anything, but you also have to take note and shed light to the things that is not flawed about yourself, and you have to actually like
Embrace your
emphasize
good.
that more.
Oh, that's good. So what's your next question for me?
My next question is, what was your outlet in regards of your mental health while you were incarcerated?
My outlet. Oh man. How did I pass my time and relieve stress?
Hmm.
Through my brother, I got words of encouragement from my sister-in-law, and she told me to work out. And shout out to Kevin Gates because he said the same thing. Working out would alleviate the depression, and
Hmm.
so I did a majority of my working out in prison. I need to get back into it because I definitely fell off with my work life. So I just got to try to get that work life balance again. But working out helped me out a whole hell of a lot. Um, it made me feel like I'm doing something for myself and accomplishing and gains. Also, I got into reading heavy, read a lot of books, and just taking my mind out of that prison and into a book helped me out. So even though my body was there physically, I was somewhere else mentally. I
Hmm.
was loving them books. I didn't read. And don't think I'm a geek, but Game of Thrones,
I love Game of
excellent
Thrones.
book. Definitely read a lot of Stephen King novels into
Stephen King is
horror.
good too.
So them was my outlets.
It's,
People always like, man, you pressing your button reading. You right. So it's either
it's your
that
form
or
of escapism.
I'm working out. But that's how I help pass my time, and then just helping others inside there. Building off each other. Trying to come up with plans like what we gonna do when we get out of here. And that was always a key factor to me. Like, what's my next step? What I'm going to do once I get released? Like, how I'm
Hmm.
gonna help the world and how I'm gonna support people. So
Right.
that would really help me maintain my mental stability while away.
That's great. That's great.
Not facts. So, question 3:
Yes.
how do you find support and community in the industry that can be isolating and competitive?
Wow. Um. Well, actually, when I first got into it, I didn't have support. It's not because people didn't want to support me. It's just that I didn't want to tell people what I wanted to do yet,
Mm-hmm.
because I know sometimes when you tell somebody what you're going to do, their opinions can dictate what you're going to do next. So I wanted to make sure that it was something that I really wanted to do first.
Mm-hmm.
So I did my own thing for a couple months, and then eventually I started making it more well known, which is putting on social media and things like that. And people were like, "Oh wow, I didn't know you do all that." Like with my special effects, that was the first thing that I put on social media, and then I started to be more vocal and say, I want to do acting, I want to do this, and people were like, "Yeah, you got that in you." And people, I guess people gravitate to my work. And when it came to, I never did rely on my friends and family to support me,
No facts.
because I feel like that's the easy way to be disappointed.
What you mean by that?
um what I mean by that is sometimes, when it comes to little things like posting your work, I don't ask people to post my work. If they want to post it, they want to post it. So I'm not going to like, "Hey, friend, can you post this um, look that I did today and this, that, and the third?" And if they didn't, I feel like that's easy, like a short way of being disappointed, because of the fact that you think, "Oh, they must not really like my work," or this, that, and the third. I like genuine support. So when your friends and your family, you just wanted them supporting because of the fact that they have those labels, which is friends and family, instead of, "Oh, do they actually mess with what I do?"
But I got this question, right? And it was coming to me while you was talking. So, being a young African American female in this industry, do you necessarily get that same support? Would it be different if you was a male?
Mm. Would it be different if I was a male?
Because it's not a lot of female filmmakers. I know. I just watched the recent movie, Blink Twice, and I know
Mhm.
that was directed by a female, Lenny Kravitz, I believe, daughter. But it was an excellent movie. I enjoyed it. So, with that being said, a lot of men get more opportunities and that support.
Yeah,
So,
I would say yes. At first I didn't have an answer, but I would say yes because as a woman, sometimes people would try to coerce you to do things that you don't want to do
hmm
just to get that support. So say if you're on like you look good, you're attractive, and but you really leaning on like your work, somebody could be looking at you a certain way and not really necessarily looking at your work, but necessarily looking the way how you actually look or
so
what you can
sexual
do.
favors.
Yeah, like sexual things, and you're just not on that type of time because I'm like I'm here to work,
hmm
and when you're in that when you're in that set, it's actually funny because I remember being on set and I was just even though I was doing the makeup portion of this of the film, I always I have camera knowledge.
hmm
Sorry. I have camera knowledge. So I was just making sure that even though there's like 6 people on set behind the camera, I always wanted to be sure that even though there's 6 people, they might be doing 6 other different things. So there was continuity. Continuity is a big thing. And I mentioned something in regards of like the camera and to the director while they were actually filming. And so they was like, "Oh yeah," and then I was like, "Hey, just want to make sure that this part actually, is coherent to this because we're reshooting this scene in a
hmm
different shot." And I mentioned that. Sorry, I mentioned that to him, and it turns out it was actually on point. But then he said something like, "Just focus on hair and makeup," and I'm
hmm
like, "I'm trying to help you out."
But what he meant by that?
Like he said in a condescending way
Mm.
because clearly I don't do hair and I only do special effects makeup. He said, "You know what? Don't worry about it. Don't we got this. Just focus on hair and makeup."
Okay.
And I'm just like,
But you was there doing other stuff, and he just assumed that you just do hair and makeup.
no, he knew what I was doing.
Okay.
He knew my position because I actually got that position because of him.
hmm
But he said it in a condescending way because he just like, "This is our business. Stay out of it." It was in that type of tone, and I was just like, oh wow, like this is that actually at first hurt my feelings because I'm just like I'm trying to help you on set, and second, I don't do hair and just like right because there's hair, makeup, and the special effects. I was the only person for special effects,
Yeah.
so it was just more so of like the shade behind it, and so I feel like if I was a guy doing that same thing, I don't think he would have talked to me that way. But it is kind of hard to gain respect, especially in your male peers and sometimes even female peers. Um, and I don't know why it's like that, and maybe it's because it's more of a male dominant space, but that never actually phased me at all because I have 2 brothers. I've been around like men, like male friends and stuff like that most of my life,
So it
so
really didn't play a factor in your mental health at that time.
it did because it made me feel small. Like even my position did not really matter. Even though the first thing that when you come on set is hair and it is makeup, and so it was just more so the way he said it in that condescending tone. It was just like even if I did do that, why making it sound like that's like a little factor
No, I
of this whole
understand.
entire set?
Nah, that was a deep rabbit hole. But I just wish you more success in that industry.
Thank
Even
you.
though you're a female, wish you nothing but the best. Cause I know how different positions. If you was a man, or female can affect your livelihood. But I know you have another question for me.
Yes, I do.
All right.
Okay. What kept you back from going back to prison?
So right now, what's keeping me back? I don't want to go back to that hell.
Mm-hmm.
But truthfully, what's keeping me out here is me being able to support people, and I work with amazing people. I do healing work for the Inside Healing Circle, and then I do work here at Mettle Behavioral Health as a peer support reentry navigator. So just being able to help has opened my mind frame to explore new things, and I had so many opportunities being home that I don't want to blow it. Um, like I love my freedom more than I love being in that cage and treated
Mm-hmm.
like an animal. So I'm
Absolutely.
just happy to have the support system that I have, which everybody needs to keep them out, because without direction or goals to achieve, what do you have? Nothing but opportunity and time. And with opportunity and time, that create drama. So if I didn't have my life wasn't if my life wasn't busy like it is now, then I'd probably be getting into some dumb shit, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
But coming home, I was able to connect with a lot of good people, and they put me in respectful places to help out and do the right thing. So that's kind of the key to keeping me out here instead of behind that wall. And then I just love being able to be out, be free, get the clothing line stuff back up and open.
Yes.
Um, you know, and not have to live behind a facade. Because being in that prison, you live behind a facade. You have to create a person for survival to make it through it. I'm me now. I ain't gotta be Crenshaw. I'm out here being Keelan,
Exactly.
so I'm enjoying it. So where we at
Okay.
now? How do you balance self care and your artistic ambition in your filmmaking career?
I kind of look at I kind of look at the film diaspora is a little bit like a form of self care for me.
Mm-hmm.
So looking like even when I watch films and when I listen to music, it's funny because like a couple maybe like a month ago, I was listening to a song, and I just made a whole script based off from that song.
Oh, for real?
Yes, and that alone, and music is my form of self care. It's my own form of therapy too. So making stories alone is another sector of for me when it comes to self care,
Mm-hmm.
and also I would say people watching and that alone.
You said people watching?
Hmm.
What you mean?
Like people watching is like
Like you watching people or people watching your work?
no watching people.
Oh, okay. Explain.
Yeah, like that. It helps me to stay present,
Okay.
and sometimes when you in like especially if you're in the city, you're more so like a future. You're future oriented, and you're thinking about things that's gonna happen, and well, you got to get to this, you got to get to that, you got to get to that. But when you actually like sit and people watch, that's a form of peace to me, and that's also a form of self care because number one, I'm outside. Number two, I am in the present, seeing what's actually happening in front of me, and
Mm-hmm.
number three, it just slows down the thoughts that I have throughout that day. So that's my form of one of my main forms of self care, even throughout the film industry.
Okay, that's interesting.
Mhm.
That's what's up. So what you got
Mhm.
for me now?
What I got is, did you have any mentors in prison or someone that held you accountable?
All right. So be honest with you. I had a lot of people that I looked up to in there in prison. So I was gang related while I was in prison,
Mhm.
and a lot of guys that's OGs I looked up to help me get through my time. Um, like I said, they kept me on my workout resume. They kept me on doing the right thing and making sure I have accountability as a man. Like I did what I did to end up in there, and I need to do what I needed to do to get out of there. So I had a lot of people that I looked up to, even like
Mhm.
that was not in prison. Like I looked up to my brother because he had high hopes for me, and he still do. And I'm still, like I said, I'm trying to do my best out here now. But it allowed like having that someone to look up to in there allowed me to learn, if that makes sense. Like I learned a lot because that was my first bid, and they kind of threw the book at me. But like I said, I did what I did, and I enjoy everything that happened afterwards. But being able to have like support and someone to look up to you, even in the darkest times, it was amazing. Shout out to G, Truck, um, Turk. A lot of guys that I looked up to helped me manage things. Like I said, get on my workout resume, help me to improve my literacy, um, and even other things. Being open, vulnerable, being able to express my emotions without being judged. You know, it's a lot that goes into it, especially when you behind them walls and you only got yourself to stand on.
Mhm.
I ain't had no other support other than me. You know, nobody can't come in there and rescue me. So,
Mhm.
I was able to build friendships and bonds in there. And I'm glad that I had leadership and someone I looked up to help me through that negative time frame. Interesting question.
Uh,
Nah, I
Interesting
appreciate
answer.
it. So, what message do you hope to convey through your films about mental health or resilience?
Mental health is a spectrum. So when people talk about things like the buzzword narcissism,
Mm-hmm.
people always look at the I guess the typical textbook of what it is or what it means to be a narcissist, but and usually it has to involve with them hurting someone else, but to see it like in their lifestyle and like how they even perceive themselves can be different as well. I try to make sure that if you're gonna cover, if you're gonna cover something in regards of mental health, let's cover even the taboo in a
So, what
taboo
is taboo
section.
in mental health in the film industry, or if you making films, what would you cover as that taboo?
I would say I feel like people are slowly steering away from this taboo, but when it comes to having PTSD, it's not always about someone that is a vet or is someone that is um I don't know. Like it's always like a typical veteran that went through the army and now they have PTSD and now they want to shoot everybody. No, like some people who have dealt with hood PTSD or their own other aspects of how they got the PTSD. Sometimes it's not like violent. It is sometimes can be very pessimistic and actually kind of looked at as docile,
Mm-hmm.
and how they when they have their own episode is not sometimes looked at as external but more so internal, and that alone, that's something that I want to display on the screen is how sometimes in those episodes it is it's more relatable that people actually want to actually what is it called, it's more relatable than what people actually want to say that it is.
Okay,
So
okay. So, If you had an opportunity to make a film right now, well, today, right,
Mhm.
and you can cover anything on a mental health spectrum, what topic would you cover and why?
Like the list, like bipolar, PTSD, and stuff like that.
Anything you want to cover.
Oh, I would definitely start with something that I was diagnosed with, which was PTSD. So
Okay.
I would definitely cover that first because that's what I'm more knowledgeable on, and then going out, talk to people, and not even just the unfortunate, like people who are homeless, because I feel like people tend to think that like more of the mental health is like when you're kind of down bad, and no, it could be someone in the more wealthier end. Like people always think that wealthy people have it all and everything's like, and they may have that financially, but mentally they probably going through it, if not worse.
Nah, facts. I done came across a lot of people working in this field. Before my incarceration, I was a psychiatric tech, worked at different organizations. I done came across judges, lawyers, cops,
Mhm.
people in entertainment. I even seen a person who came through. It was American Got Talent. It was a patient in the hospital. It don't have no mental health don't have no name
Mhm.
and no form. It can take
You don't have no
anybody.
look either.
Um, you might see me right now. You think I might got it all, but right now, truthfully, I'm battling my depression because
Mm.
I feel like I'm not where I want to be at right now. So I'm walking around functional, but I'm still battling depression.
Yes.
And that's how like the weight gain and everything occurred because I'm still got issues that I'm dealing with. I still deal with PTSD from being incarceration. I don't like the sound of keys. That shit triggers me. I
Exactly.
don't like when like things close. So when you see someone, don't think they all okay because they might not be. Like I said, I'm dealing with depression right now, but I'm functional.
Mhm.
But it's still things in me that I'm still working to try to be better. And I do utilize my outlets, and I try my best to journal, try my best to still read and do things that help improve my situation. But you never know what somebody dealing with. They might be smiling and okay, but deep down inside they go through things. So that's why it's always important for me to be able to express what's going on, and that's why I asked you if you had an opportunity to make a film and being able to cover a spectrum of mental health, what it would be about.
And I also, as you were talking out, I actually would like to talk about how like assault can be, how assault can look like for men, because I feel like that's an extremely like taboo thing to talk about, and and the different forms of assault, like sexual and the violent ones too, and how even their day to, like how their day to day and how they cope with it. Because I know sometimes like a lot of men say they they don't really display their emotions, and people always say that, oh, women are more emotional than men. I always say in rebuttal, like, men, I feel like are more emotional, but the thing is, we display it differently. So, and I want to show how that is displayed, like even with like a internal voiceover or something that they do or something that somebody have said and how that affected them. And I feel like seeing that can be a nice discourse of making more men more vulnerable.
So I'm glad that you brought that up. So you also know that I do inside circle work,
Yes.
and that's where we do healing. We gather men and women. It's about healing. But
Mhm.
the guys that I normally work with is a bunch of guys, incarcerated individuals coming home. But we create a safe space and container. That way you can be vulnerable and
Mhm.
be able to express what's going on. And without that safe space or that container to hold that, a lot of men don't open up. So we have people closed off. But if you can create safe havens and safe spaces, which I'm trying to do, hopefully in Maryland soon, um, then we can be able to turn that taboo or that table about men not expressing themselves. I'm very vulnerable, but I'm secure for who I am or
Mhm.
when I do. So, I don't think nothing bad, when I talk about my vulnerability or anything that ever happened to me because I know who I am as a person. And long as a man know who he is, he should be open and be vulnerable. I share a lot of things about myself, and the only reason I share it, because no one else can use it against me. So I turn
Exactly.
my pain and I try to turn it into positivity. That way nobody can hurt me with it anymore. So that's why I express my story. I did this and I did that, but at the end of the day, I'm human, which we all are, and we all go through things in life.
Mhm.
So, not facts. But if we can bring that, you feel free to, film the inside circle work that we
Oh,
gonna do when we come to
absolutely.
Maryland.
Absolutely. And I also want to also like for specifically for black women how we display depression because it doesn't look the same of other like women and other races. It doesn't look the same. So that's also something that I would say that I would definitely want to display on the screen.
Not facts. Looking forward to that. Did
Yes.
you have that final question for me?
Yes, I do. Let me see. What is something that you wish to change in the prison system?
Something I wish to change in the prison system. I would want them to change the way people do time. Um, it's not enough activity for people to want to better themselves. If people wanted
Mhm.
to go to school, give them opportunity to go in school. If people wanted to learn a trade, give them opportunity. They only have a certain amount of spaces that people to do, and then people left on a tier or in themselves, trying to self-help and self-improve themselves with books, but they really not understanding what's going on in them books because nobody ever taught them. So they
Yeah.
trying to help themselves, getting misinformed and coming home thinking they know something when they really don't. I feel
Mhm.
like prison need to open up more of a support system, let people come in and help the individuals there, therapy sessions, being able to journal and help these guys rehabilitate, not self sabotage, sitting in the cell playing games on the tablet. So if I can change something, it's the way people will do time and being able to offer that support and that guidance. Bring in people from the outside that's willing to help guide the next generation for when they come home. At least they have an avenue, a reentry navigator, someone that can help navigate them through the process of coming home and bettering themselves. So that's what I would change.
Would that be something that you would maybe put in Notion in the future?
Hopefully we can. I think right here at Metalworks Behavioral Health, we are trying to do that, trying to get reentry navigators inside the prison systems. Maryland, if y'all watching this, open up and let us in. We trying to help individuals come home and do the right thing.
Okay.
So, anybody needing support or help, come through. We here to help and support. But I appreciate that question. But that's one thing I changed. How people do time and that support system. Allow them, like, open up more opportunities.
Absolutely.
Facts. So, thank y'all again for joining me with the 5 for 5.
Good.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a good day. Signing out.
Bye.